Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you very much for being here. I'm Tommaso Cavallo, I'm K Group partner, and I'm here with my colleague Giovanni Privato, the project leader of K Group, and Davide Vecchio, ICT manager at Sibeg, a company in charge of the production and distribution of Coca-Cola in the Sicily market. We have been working together for the last 4 years. But before starting, I'd like to show you a short video which explains better than I do what our mission is. Then I'll speak for a few minutes afterwards.
Every day, we have to make difficult choices. Choices that create growth. Downfall. Or upward flight. We can only choose through knowing. And knowing means seeing. Seeing things close up. But also seeing how far they will go. Seeing the outcomes we can expect. Being able to see results that have only been imagined. Knowing that the more we are, the further we can see. Knowing that nothing travels as fast as an idea. This speed means change. And change means new knowledge and more new ideas. Every day, we have to make difficult choices. What we need to know is that every new choice will take us much further than we ever expected. Every day is a discovery.
Okay, thank you. Every day is a discovery, and K Group is a consulting firm specialized in performance measurement and performance management projects. With a team of more than 30 knowledge workers, K Group has been using Board since 1998 as a unique platform for business intelligence and corporate performance management applications. Our mission is to transform implicit knowledge into explicit knowledge through supporting management in data-driven decision-making processes. In this era of knowledge, successful companies are focused on 2 fundamental assets: human capital and corporate information systems. These two assets are strongly connected because effective decision-making can only take place with correct information and the ability to use it. We develop that awareness in organization. This is our mission. We implement our business intelligence corporate performance management models via three components: people, methodology, and technology. A K Group consultant is a knowledge worker who combines business language with the complexity of technology, making data management simple. Our knowledge workers are facilitators who help communication between the ICT department and the other managerial divisions. Many years ago, we decided that board was the right tools for us. It enables us to reduce complexity, to keep control models and planning models in the same multidimensional environment, and to obtain compelling dashboard results. Today, our client outcomes are based on the key performance indicator in all operational and financial areas. Over these years, we have learned a lot of things in the managerial field, but one of the most important aspects is how to use key performance indicators in execution strategy. Business people and managers plan a large number of strategies and constantly have new ideas, but very often their efforts are wasted with poor final results. Our approach takes place in 4 stages. The first stage is WIG, which stands for Wildly Important Goals. Whirlwind is the rush of daily activity, and inside this whirlwind, you have to decide what to focus on. The less goals, the better. The second stage is about using different measures to check the ongoing results. For example, if you want to lose weight, you shouldn't weigh yourself every day, but you can check your calories in and calories out daily. It's the same in the business. Financial results cannot be checked on a daily basis, but operational indicators can, in the form of lag and lead measures. The third stage is having a compelling scorecard to check your final goals by lag measures and track where you are currently in terms of lead measures. Like this in the same screen. Calories on the left side and weight in the right side. Your operational indicators and your financial indicators. The fourth and final stage, like the diet, is a clear cadence of accountability, where every day activities are planned in accordance with the final targets. I think Sibeg experience is a good example of a relationship between a lag and lead measures, between operational target and financial targets. I'm going to hand over to Davide Vecchio, who will introduce himself, his company, and the sales and operation planning models. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for introducing myself and the company. I'll try to give you a brief introduction about Sibeg and about the organization. As Thomas said, we are the Sicilian bottlers for Coca-Cola company. So, I don't know if any of you already been in Sicily. So Sicily is a beautiful island in the southern part of Italy. And we work there as the one and only bottlers, covering all the kind of product coming from Coca-Cola bottlers. A few features around Sibeg. We are leader in the development of Sicily economy, because unfortunately, even if Sicily is a beautiful place to go and stay, from a market perspective, we still have space for growth. And as a Coca-Cola partner, we are doing our best to improve, and we are committed to develop the island the better we can. So for the time being, we have been leader in the economic development of Sicily in the past few years. We have spent something like 30 million euros in investment in the last 5 years, with a turnover in 2016 of 107 millions. Okay, I was looking for the screen now, I didn't see that it's behind the table, sorry. So we deliver something like 30 trucks a day in the low season, and up to 100, 110 trucks in the full season. And we had a 9.2% EBIT in 2016. That has been, even if not a good situation for Italy economic situation, it was very good for us. We have like 320 employees as direct employees, and something like 1,350 people in the related industry. So in the Catania area, we are one of the biggest employers. And we serve 500 customers around the modern trade with discount, global distribution, and the cash and carry channel, and in the wholesaler, national, HoReCa, and vending, with about 30,000 point of sales in the island for 5 million consumers. We have 110 sales executives that are the people that goes on a daily basis to all the stores, 6,500 point of sales. And we use a lot of informatic systems to help our business to improve the operations and to sell product. So this project was around integrated planning. Yeah. So we had some kind of solution in place, but we understood that it was not yet the best. We have space of improvement, and we found with the K-Group partner a lot of opportunities to improve the process. Naturally, we started from auditing the existing processes, because even if you are already using good tools, you still may have chances to get better and better. So the project started with a couple of months period during which we have analyzed the disease situation in order to find out where the gaps may be and improvement opportunities. Following that, we produced a documented analysis that have been shared with the key stakeholders on the business side, and we identified where we want to go, what we want to have for the new product, and how we want to improve and the return of the investment in terms of improvement on both economic sales figures and the process benefits. And then we defined the functional requirement that have to be part of the new project and new process. And we were already using the new board version, because we started from board 6 in the past 10 years working with this kind of tool. But we understood that on a day-by-day operation, the new version was going to provide us a lot of better features. And the colleagues that speak before has shown some of new exciting features that I'm keen to go and improve very soon if we can. So we designed a new process flow, starting from the as-is, with a lot of improvements, starting from the pain that were in the organization. And we ended up with a new model that has given already good results, and we are currently using the new system already as the standard, de facto new model. So where we were, the former process. Even if we were already using a platform, as a matter of fact, as in most of the organization, unfortunately, Excel magician was there, and people were still using Excel for a lot of data manipulation. And let's say that even if we had board in place, from a process perspective, there were still some opportunities to improve, because we were facing a lot of, let's say, things that may go better, like we had at the time a fixed planning period without the chance to move back and forth or to adapt to the stakeholders on the business side needs. We had a lack of actual versus planning vision into one instrument because of the spreadsheets flying around with sometimes not consistent figures between one user and the other. there was a lot of waiting time because everyone was working on its own picture. And then everybody was trying to mix and see where the gaps were with outside of the system. So we had the different version of different spreadsheets trying to summarize the same data, and this was a pain. And anyway, the spreadsheets the users were working on were so good, but so complex, that even looking at those data, if the user was not the one that created the spreadsheet, most of the time was a mess, because they meant different meaning with those numbers, and there was no a central, let's say, organization that driven the process. Because part of the system was part of the process was into Board 6 system, and part was outside. So the collaboration was not that effective at the time. And at the end, there was a long processing time because we need to put data back and forth into the system, trying to align the data with the one and only global shared version. So I said that we had a big spreadsheet. This gives you kind of example of what I mean when I say big spreadsheet. Even if the size was not that much, I mean 17 megs nowadays, it's easily managed by a new Excel version. But it's not a matter of the amount of data, but it's a matter of trying to fix and mix all those figures going around with different meaning in something like 16 different sheets into the same file, referring and using magic formulas all around in order to try to evaluate different opportunities from different point of view. And as I said, we follow the Sicily region from any point of perspective. So different sales occasion, different kind of markets, different SKUs. We have more than 150, 200 different SKUs that have been moving around by modern trade to normal trade. So it was really difficult to manage those figures.
It requires a really huge Excel knowledge to do that.
Exactly.
Manage those files. I mean, I don't know if I can
So
do it.
even when they spread around, sometimes the people were not even able to read what's the meaning of those figures in the Excel by the end of the day. And you see 768 rows by 253 columns means a lot of data. So the process time in order to open the file was like 3 minutes until you see ending up some numbers, and most of the time they got like, boom, Excel has crashed for any reason. And even from cost of goods perspective, in a budgeting phase, the colleagues from controlling area or for finance that in the process was like after the sales department has finished their forecast or their planning, they moved to the next stage because it was like kind of a sequential process. So the right side, the right hand has to wait for the left hand to finish their work because there was a chain, and part of that chain was into the system. We had something like top down, bottom up, back and forth, 2-3 times of the process going in a sequential matter. And then they, at the end of the day, spent a lot of time on the sales side, few time on the finance side, and for the treasury it was a mess because it was like the last part of the chain. So he had very few time in order to work on those figures. Yeah, and it was one of the most critical part because he has to think about the loans and expenses. So it was very tough for the colleagues from the finance work on the figures that the sales parts have spit out. So, as I said, part of the process was into spreadsheets, something like sales budget, started from a board system, then put out on the spreadsheets, and then go back again to the system, added by CAPEX budget, OPEX budget, cost of goods, long-term loans, and then all this provided the information critical for the starting balance sheet. All those people were working together somehow, not in a strictly then constructed way, but they were already working together, weighing one each other. And this was then input for the profit and loss budget, cash flow, and balance sheet budget that again needs to be worked on by the finance treasury manager. So it was already a complex process with part of the system working together, but with too many information flowing back and forth. And then we moved with the new version of the project, if the slide want to change. No? Okay, to a new model. All you can see in this slide is now part of one and only system. All the data is into the system. No more spreadsheets flying back and forth. So we have a collaborative workflow in which all the parts work together. No more serial steps, but we were able, with the help of K Group, to find kind of touch point in which the major information gets shared all together without the needs of waiting for details analysis. So at some level, they work all together, each one on his part, and then by increasing the detail level, they end up with the full picture. They have a simulation suite that before was part of Excel spreadsheets that they shared, but as I said, not with a common shared version of the data. From many processes to an integrated system by the end of the day, with a planning flexible horizon that they can switch back and forth wherever they need, and with the possibility to compare into the system the planning versus actual in order to simulate and plan with different versions. So they have the possibility to have different scenarios.
Of course, yes.
With a more auditable process, because we can see who has changed what and how, so which cubes have been used and when. And with a wider, for sure, strategic view in which from the top management down to the operational side, like the area manager, district sales manager, local key account, everybody's working on the same tool. No more spreadsheets again flying around. And the timing for the process has been tightened a lot. So now we have a smarter, faster process consolidated into one system. This is the big picture in which we can see that starting from the sales budget, then we produce all the kind of OPEX, CAPEX, COGS budgets into one and only environment. They provide the direct, straightforward information for other the plan, profit and loss, the balance sheet and the cash flow statement into the system, up to the cash flow statement, financial budget, and the financial treasury analysis. This is one of the screens that is very full of information, as you can see, because we have put all those things together. So we can see that we have a workflow on the left-hand side in which we have all the steps that needs to be performed, but it's not anymore a sequential process. As I said, part of those steps may be performed in parallel, so without waiting and losing time, and working on all the... This is from integrated planning business.
We will see the first.
You show kind of a demo later on. And the same from sales and COGS perspective. So from the sales versus cost of goods, in which all the parts are split down into the system to fulfill the information needed from the volumes, the relationship from SKUs with the different characteristics that drives the sales for different markets. Then they import automatically. That was something that was done in the past manually, information from our SAP in order to identify the cost of goods and for the services. And then step by step up to the definition of the complete cost of goods analysis. This is somehow the representation of the final output of the system, in which we can see that we have a complete analysis going from, this is from a financial perspective, going from profit and loss and to the balance sheet and cash flow, with some screens that, as you know, in board may be navigated through any kind of details, all consolidated in the same environment, available to all the stakeholders from the same platform.
Yeah, okay.
The same picture from the sales perspective. Maybe you want to add more details around this screen?
Yeah, this is actually the sales planning part of the whole integrated business plan, which we developed together in Sibeg. And actually, we decided to keep the sales planning process apart from the remaining part of the process, since because of its complexities, both from an operational point of view, both from actually a calculation point of view. Therefore, even though they're pretty similar, at least from the on-page screen, there are two processes which are divided, although of course they communicate together in order to end up to the final target, which is the integrated business plan. And if I can go on. Yeah, okay, I will introduce myself again. I'm Giovanni Privato. I'm working in K Group together with my boss, actually, Tommaso Cavallo, and I've been together in the team for the developing of the project together with Davide and his team in Sibeg. And actually, I focused on the sales planning model, on the developing of the sales planning model. Therefore, I'm here in order to share with you, with the community, how we managed, how we faced the main challenging requests that actually Sibeg, I should say, made us, and probably Davide may confirm me that some of these requests were actually a little bit challenging and compelling sometimes, because every company has its own complexities in decisional patterns. And
we are in a modern era in which needs change every day. So it's very hard to go and stay with the requirements on a daily basis, but you were good at that in looking forward vision.
Of course. And therefore, actually, I want to highlight 4 main points in our model that we developed, possibly the most closest to the technical point of view by which we face that. Because I assume that at least somebody of you knows the basic features of board and its functionalities, then that's why I want to share with you some of the ways we use those basic functionalities in order to meet our customer requests. And the first one, of course, as you can see in the picture, is we created a model in which the sales department of Sibeg is able to plan every kind of planning process they might want to do. So, by instance, a budget plan, a rolling 2+8, a rolling 4+8, 2+10, of course, a rolling 4+8, meaning 4 close months. I'm in May, 4 close months, and then I want to plan the remaining part of the year. Therefore, we built in one single environment a planning process which is fully customizable, both from a timeline point of view and both from a sales proposal point of view. Because if now I'm in May, I may start up my quantity and revenues values, starting from my closed balance in the first 4 months, possibly, as in this picture is shown, possibly a forecast for the month of May, because the forecast in the case of Sibeg, just to be clear, is some sort of month-by-month accurately planning for the production cycles, which is made by the customers, by the agent customers, so it's very accurate, and I guess it's the best thing we know about the month of May in this moment till it's closed. And finally, of course, I will start my values for the remaining part of the year, starting from my last planning process, which actually was the budget plan in this case. So these are my sales proposal that I will bring up, and I will bring over my process. But I may want to say, okay, I'm in May. I want to keep of course, my first 4 months closed. Why? Because they're closed. The data cannot be affected by any further modifications. However, I may say, okay, the forecast is my best data right now. Why should I affect that by other kind of assumptions? Then I want to close the month of May in order to make it independent from any further growth or decrease percentage or modifications by any kind of agent. So we've been able to divide the planning period from the period which is affected by any modification. And this has been made through this flag framework, which goes over for the whole process that I will show you later as a demo example. The second main point is, as you can see, and as you saw in the homepage previously, we have some sort of root of the main workflow, which actually has got its own chronological time sense. Okay, of course. So, by instance, the market trend must be done before the listing and so on. And we finally get to the customer details, which is the last part of the process. However, because of some requirements made by Sibeg, and because as I said, the decisional patterns within Sibeg are not so easy as it can be, or as in an example, or as in an ideal world could be, the sales department of Sibeg asked us for a process in which every agent could, in every time, work on any step of the process without affecting any other agent, but inheriting somehow the assumptions made by the other agents in the other steps. So we built a process which, regardless the chronological sense of the process, everyone could work in any step, inheriting the assumptions made by the others. And this has been possible by working through some sort of module setup, in which every step is some sort of one single module, which together makes up the whole process and adds to the target, which actually is, for the sales planning part, the computation of the highest part of the profit and loss statement, which goes from gross revenues, all the discount scale that Sibeg provides to its customers,
Right.
to the final net revenue. Of course, this high part of the profit and loss statement is then posted to COGS for the remaining part of the process. So the remaining part of the process has not to fully weight the whole ending or the initial process. It may initiate its value as well. Anyway, this is not the point. So the third great point, I guess, and it is a functionality of board, but I think its value is very underestimated. I've never used it actually before this project, is the pattern-based allocation. I don't know, of course, everybody of you is in love with the split and splat data entry. So when you can data entry values starting from an aggregated point of view, knowing that board will splat those modifications across the detailed dimensions proportionally to their mix. With the pattern-based allocation, which is activable for who knows something about the layout of board, which is activable from the window below the flag of the data entry, you are allowed to select one cube which has the same, one data cube, which is the same actual dimension regardless the sparsity structure, the same dimension of the target cube of the data entry, and you are allowed to data entry values even on aggregate levels, although the cell could be empty. So what's the difference with the split and splat? The split and splat needs some data within the cube, within the cell in which I'm data entering data. With the pattern-based allocation, you may allocate data even on aggregate level, even if the cell is empty. What is the best? One may say, okay, just put some data before the process within that cell and then write in there. Okay, apart from the elegant point of view of my data entering data, what is best, according to my opinion, with my opinion of developer on board on an everyday basis, what is great with pattern-based allocation is the fact that you're allocating mix across the detailed dimension. And by detailed dimension, I mean every single customer for every single month, for every single SKU, and so on. Is given by a driven pattern-based cube, which is underneath the layout. You cannot see that, and according to that mix, you will allocate data. So changing the values within the underneath cube will change and affect the value, affect the way you data entering data in. So, by instance, if I don't have any data within my cell, I may put in the underneath cube the average mix coming from my aggregate group of the SKUs, my aggregate group of the customers, and therefore have an average mix allocation within my data. And this is, according to my opinion, great in order to, by instance, and I will show you later, for the inserting of volumes in a planning module of new SKUs or new launches within a market. Final, last but not least, the automatic calibration discount scale. It seems easy. Actually, I should say it is not. We worked a lot on that. Actually, the sales department of Sibeg, apart from the quantity sold, plans the final net revenue month after month for each month, for each customer, and for each SKUs. Apart from the process which brings you to the final target planned result, the point is that they didn't want to recalculate every single discount of my profit and loss finally to the final net revenue in order to make it consistent with my gross price. Therefore, we developed a procedure, a calculation procedure by which you're able to plan on the target net final revenue, and the system automatically calibrates the whole discount scale in order to make the profit and loss statement consistent with what you planned, according to the gross revenues coming from the proposals. This has been done how? By setting up some sort of cycling route across the rows of my profit and loss scale, which is actually not native in Board, and which I guess is some functionality that should enter within as native within the platform. However, through simple actions of data flows, extract and reload cubes, we've been able to develop a framework by which Board automatically calculates the subtotal between all the rows of my layout, final to my final net result, and then we've according to a shared pattern together with Sibeg, we reallocate those delta across my discount scale. And
just to give you an idea, this process was manually driven in the past and meant for our sales planners kind of mess, because if you think that, as I said, we have more than 500 customers we work with in order to define the proper scale of each discount with the right target for the final pricing. That was that my colleagues from that department every month, and especially when we have rolling for the budget process, they were like crazy in order to work with that. And now it's done almost automatically. I think they just give a double check at the end of the process to verify that everything is good. This was great.
I like to highlight this point because it's made by simple actions, simple modular actions. And this is great for who develops in Board, because you're able to intervene in modifications or in adjustment of the calculations very simply. There's nothing so sophisticated in our calculations. Therefore, whenever some new discounts enter within the framework, it will be quite easy to put your hands on. Then I would like, if it's possible, to send the image of my PC. I would like to show you just a few examples. Okay, here we are. This is, of course, a demo of the sales planning model we developed. There are, of course, fake numbers. Anyway, I'd like to show you some of these 4 main points. So this is the home page. As you can see on your left, you can see in the top left the admin control panel by which the sales department of Sibeg, in the person of Giuliano Torrisi, that I would like to remember because we did it together, is able to set up the whole process in the moment it should start. Therefore, as you can see, she will start a planning process, setting up what year I'm planning for, what kind of planning process I'm doing, and how I'm starting my values. So, by instance, I may say, okay, I want to, now I'm in May, I want to plan a rolling 4+8, so I'm planning the last 4 months of the year, and I'm starting them, taking, as in the picture below, before the first 4 months as consumptive data, forecast, and the last review, approved review, which in this case will be the budget. And this will be done automatically by Board. I don't want to waste seconds. So the close period settings will be calculated automatically. So by instance, if you start the process, you will find a situation like this, in which you have 4 close months, which actually are equal with the planning period. However, Giuliano, in this case, may be able to close the month of May. Why? Because I have my forecast, which has already been planned the last month, which is very accurate, customer by customer, SKU by SKU, and I want to be, I don't want it to be in any case affected. And then she will start the process. After starting the process, yeah, of course, I want to continue without entering it. Sorry. So, by instance, the sales, another department, which is not the sales one, right, Davide?
This is the marketing.
The marketing department will, by instance, for example, start new SKUs within a market. So, let's suppose that the marketing department says, okay, from May, we will start in this group of our customers. The SKU 1066 will start in the, or suppose the 1071. It will start from the month of May. We'll get within the market of the group 03. Then I will enter the data. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot my key. I don't know if we have a USB key, otherwise the procedures will run, sorry. An USB key. Anyway, suppose that will work. I don't know if it works, actually, I'm sorry.
This is a real-life demo.
Yeah.
As you can see, we are not faking at all.
I have my own one, it will work for sure, sorry.
And this was great, this part of the screen introducing new SKU, because as you may understand, as a seasonal company for which we have new launches in the summer, for example, it was not easy to have an established list of SKUs and discounts that we want to apply, even if we follow the indication coming from company. So having an agile instrument that allows you to recalculate like this with short time was very important from their point of view.
Okay, I'm very sorry, it will not work, my procedure will not work since they are mapped over the disk E, which I actually don't have in my PC. However, by instance, if I'm flagging from the month of May, by creating my mix, what am I doing? I'm just reflecting the average mix of those channel, of those aggregate channel and those aggregate group of SKUs within a cube, which will be the driver of my pattern-based allocation. Therefore, by this average allocation, by creating my mix, it will create a mix which goes from May till December, and according to this mix, I will be able to enter data on a yearly planning or on a yearly based layout, so year by year and SKU by SKU. And once I get the data in, I will automatically find my allocation by month, by each customer, which otherwise would have been done manually. So suppose I'm taking drill down by customer, I can see that in this, for the SKU 1263, I already have my pattern-based allocation. So once this is done, the marketing department may confirm the data, getting final to a sales summary in which it's clear how every step of the process is treated as a different independent module within a whole process. Indeed, you may see a sales proposal, a market trend, a listing, a new SKU, full year, and so on. So every single column is a different module which together ends up in our sales budget, which by instance is 26,100,000 of bottles, by instance. Finally, we get to the, so this will be the picture which is accessible both from the CFO down to the operational offices. And finally, once the volumes are monthly allocated and so on, and the final net revenue is calculated and planned month after month, we finally get to our target, the profit and loss statement, which is actually automatically calculated group after group, SKU by SKU.
Month by month.
Month by month. Doing what? Making consistent my gross revenue, which comes from my proposal, down to my final net revenue. In this case is 0 because possibly the volumes are empty. Anyway, let's take this case. I will have a gross revenue of 11, and I will end up in a net revenue of 8. If you make a subtotal here, you will get the exact result. Of course, you're allowed to modify the profit and loss manually by setting up, these actually are percentage values. You're allowed to modify them, and the system will fix your profit and loss again according to your slight modifications. Finally, you may confirm by confirming everything is posted to COGS for the remaining part of the process. So let me conclude by saying that actually this model has not been easy at all. I must say, the requests were very challenging, were very compelling. I guess let's say we did it. Of course, there's always space for improvements, sure, for new integrations and so on. However, I guess that board is an amazing instrument, although it starts with a blank page. So it gives it best once you listen to people, once you understand their daily job, and it gives it best when it's suited in order to, and modeled in order to improve the daily job of the people that works in the companies. So thank you for listening. We're here for any kind of questions. If you don't have, you will meet us at our booth of K Group outside. And thank you. Thanks.